Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and whenever you are tuning into this video. My name is James Porcelli.
I'm Brian Thomas.
And welcome to another edition of the Ruthless Talk podcast.
Welcome back. I'm back from Charlotte, if anybody cares, so good to be back.
Right, Brian is back in the comfort of his own home. Hopefully it was a good time, man. I saw that you were at the Orioles game, man. I still need to check out that freaking ballpark, man. It looked like it was a good
nice
time.
Park, man.
Awesome, man. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mania week. It is WrestleMania week. We are hopeful that there is still something left for us to get excited, to be emotionally invested for WrestleMania, which is in just a couple of days, as we have Monday Night Raw, the final Monday Night Raw, the go-home show to WrestleMania. I do want to give a shout-out to everybody that was a part of our roundtable, our WrestleMania roundtable. If you haven't checked out our WrestleMania roundtable yet, make sure you guys do such. It is on all of our platforms right now. It is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and is on YouTube. So shout out to Denard, shout out to, of course, Scotty, and of course, Top Bunk Sports, David. Shout out to all of those guys who were a part of it. It was
thank you.
Great time. Over 2+ hours of a roundtable. Thanks, WWE, because now there's 2 nights of WrestleMania. We got all this shit to talk about. But hey, you know what? We shoot the shit. We talk some pro wrestling, a lot of good discussion, and it was a great time, man, as it always is with these roundtable events, man. So our second WrestleMania roundtable event that we've done on this platform, and it was awesome, man. I had a blast. So once again, just salute to all of those people that were a part of it. And again, you guys can go check that out on all of our platforms right now. Again, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as on our YouTube channel. So I want to give those guys a shout out before we get started. So before we get into Monday Night Raw, we got some ratings to talk about. We'll get into some ratings, mentioning some AEW. We'll kind of, at least for now, we'll keep AEW on the back burner since it is WrestleMania week. There's a lot of, at least somewhat of buzz, maybe not in the most positive of light, but there is buzz around the wrestling world. So we'll kind of keep AEW on the back burner on the things for now, but we will discuss their ratings and what they've been hitting as far as numbers is concerned, along with WWE NXT, as they have an event coming up for WrestleMania weekend, NXT Stand and Deliver. So we'll kind of talk about a little bit of their numbers as well. But first things first, man. Triple H, Paul Levesque, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, whatever you want to call this freaking dude, right? And Ryan,
the Cerebral Assassin.
The Cerebral Assassin, right? All these freaking nicknames and catchphrases that he's given himself as a performer, right? Right? The Chief of Content, right? The Chief Content Creative Officer, to where, once again, he is more prioritizing being on the camera and being on shows than he is actually putting in creative effort into his products, but that's neither here or there. So Triple H, if you guys have not heard, has made a lot of noise towards the IWC, towards wrestling fans, about being critics, right? And how a lot of wrestling fans are just not very happy about how this bill to WrestleMania has gone. Some of it is justified, and yes, some of it to where a lot of fans just like to bitch and moan and complain just for the sake of it. No question, absolutely. But Triple H was on this podcast, and he also spoke in a recent interview. I saw this just yesterday as well, but I'll get into that later. But this podcast, again, much love to whoever did this podcast. Don't know the name, and I'll be honest, I don't give a shit. I just don't. But still, much love to whoever is part of that podcast, whatever the name is. Again, my apologies, but again, don't really care. Don't give a shit at all. But Triple H had some choice words to say, and he talks about the IWC, the wrestling industry, and how it's not real life. That's what he said. The internet is not real life. The fans who bitch and moan and complain, they're not real. It's all fake. It's not real life. But the fans, right, who come to these arenas, who try to pack out these arenas, they come and they yeet. They do all these Disney sing-alongs. They cheer and they sing. Those are the real fans, the people that pay us millions upon millions of dollars, the people that make us rich and make us record revenue, yeah, we cater to those people because they're giving us our money. But those people,
which they
the
do.
other people,
Sure.
Absolutely.
That's a business model. Yeah.
And that's right, exactly. But those other people that, that are very critical towards a product, nah, who cares, man? Who cares? They're just they bitch and moan just for the sake of it, right? Now, listen, I get it. Are there fans that like to bitch and moan and complain just for the sake of it? Absolutely. There is absolutely no question about it. But Brian, there's also fans like me. There's fans like you. There's a lot of fans, people like David, people like Scotty, people like Denard, people like a lot of people in this wrestling industry are very passionate about professional wrestling. And imagine, Brian, right? Just compare this to another executive suit and tie from another global company, like the NBA, right? Or the NFL, General Mills, who sells a bunch of food products and whatever, right? Your job is to keep customers happy, right? And your job is to promote a certain message to those people like, hey, that are not so fond of your product. Imagine just telling those people that are very critical about your product. They don't like what they were given or what their money was given, right? And you tell them, oh, they're fake. They're not real people, right? It's like, oh, forget those people that are critical towards our product. Oh, they're just not real. We push them to the wayside, right? It just comes across, Brian, that Triple H is a narcissistic, egotistical prick. That's just, I'm sorry, is what it comes across, right? Because whether he likes it or not, whether he wants to admit it or not, the fans have every single right with the amount of money that they're paying for now, right? With ticket prices going up, with revenue now going up, people want something big in return, right? They have every single right to be upset. And you've seen this build to WrestleMania and how piss poor it is. And we talk about just the product in general with the IC championship, the mid-card championships, freaking these two weird triple threat matches, right? Charlotte Flair once again getting a title opportunity, bunch of fatal four-ways, right? A bunch of matches that were less than 2 weeks from the show that you're randomly throwing onto the card. And you want to sit there and you have the fucking nerve to sit there and call fans not real because they don't like the bullshit. They see through all of your bullshit of the product that you're giving them, right? You take and take and take all of everybody's money, but you're giving people less and less of good quality product. So it's just like, because again, man, the honeymoon phase is over, dude. Whether you want to like it or not, Triple H, Paul Levesque, they see through your bullshit now. The honeymoon phase is over. Nobody is now glazing towards your butt. It's no longer NXT anymore. This is not black and gold. You don't have Dusty Rhodes anymore in your corner. You don't have William Regal. You don't have your ducks in a row anymore. Now you're producing 2-hour, 3-hour shows now, and people now see through your fucking bullshit. And this is how you respond as an executive. You now act like a petulant fucking child. It's the ego. It's no better than Vince McMahon. It really isn't. And trust me, I get it. We've seen a lot of bad from Vince McMahon, and I'm not going to argue over the last 10 years about the product that Vince McMahon was producing, right? But you know what that I always say about Vince McMahon and what he does? There was a foundation. There were lines that were not blurred. You never saw faces randomly fought against other baby faces. Storylines at least somewhat made sense. There was at least 1 or 2 storylines that even at worst, at Vince McMahon's worst, there was still a storyline or two that still made sense and that carried along towards a show like WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
With Triple H, there has been nothing makes sense outside of what, maybe John Cena and this heel turn, which, by the way, Triple H, we all know you had maybe 10% of it, 10% of creative, participation into it, because all you did was freaking approve it. And now the fact you want to throw this hissy fit as an executive suit and tie because people are no longer coddling the fucking balls of your booking in this product. And now you want to act like a petulant child, bro. And now people see through your bullshit. And this is where we're at. And it's unfortunate, man, because this is who WWE and Triple H is to where they think they have it all figured out. right? They have all this record revenue. And by the way, Triple H, you're not making record revenue anymore. You're not having record sellouts anymore. The numbers and your finances will tell you that. Your numbers on Netflix will tell you that. So where the numbers are going backwards and not forward. Your numbers on the USA Network are going backwards, not forward. And this is heading in towards WrestleMania, to where on Netflix you can build up to over 7,500 million people, and you're barely even scratching 2 million on a weekly fucking basis globally, not just in the US, globally. Right. And you want to sit there and just tell people to say that they're not real and to just shut up and maybe just sit back and just enjoy the product or just stop watching. So, Brian, I don't know what your thoughts in.
I'll follow that up.
What are your thoughts, man, in regards to these comments from Paul Levesque himself, man? The floor is yours.
Yeah, well, first I gotta start off with saying, man, I'm a Sagittarius. So if y'all don't know about Sagittarius, man, I mean, like, middle fingers in the air, fuck y'all, we don't care, man. But yeah, I mean, so somebody like Triple H in his position, I mean, this is typical. Like, it shouldn't surprise or shock anybody that he would say something like this. Doesn't. I mean, he's a corporate guy now, and selling that product, and beyond wrestling. This is our society, folks. This is what we live in right now. Where they're gonna. The people running the show are gonna sell you shit that is not as good as it was back in the day. It costs more, and they're still gonna tell you it's better or just as good, and it's not. And that's across the board. That ain't wrestling. That's in fucking the shit we eat, the fucking the gyms we go, every fucking thing, man. Like, it doesn't matter. So that shit doesn't shock me. But
no.
And he does have a point. Like, yes, both things are right. Yes, there are people that are just gonna, you're never gonna make them happy if you whatever. And those people do exist. Yeah. But and the wrestling crowds, okay? Let me talk to the people that are buying the tickets and in there in the arena, right? Man, I'd fucking love to go there. But the reality of it is the tickets, anywhere from, I don't know, what's the cheapest probably you're going to get? $20, $25, $30. Mm-hmm. You got to pay for parking. God forbid you want a fucking hot dog and a soda. Or you have a kid that wants a souvenir. Right. I mean, shit, you're looking at a fucking trip for a wrestling event, and you're dropping $100 regardless of the fucking ticket price. So, I mean, bro, like, this is the world we're fucking living in. Yeah, real fans, the backbone of the fucking industry. And you want to go back into the territory days? Yeah, this is fucking poor people, man, that don't have much, rubbing two nickels together. And they're priced out, man. They can't fucking afford to go, dude. So, and shout out to the people. And this isn't like, yeah, man, bro, you got enough to go to that arena and yeet. And yeah, if I was there, I mean, am I going to spend that money and fucking have a shitty time? No, I'm going to go there. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to cheer for who I want to cheer for, boo who I want to boo. Right. And I'm going to enjoy so yeah, you see the product on the TV, and yeah, people are having a good time because fuck, they spent their hard-earned money to go there. Like, why the fuck shouldn't they? But that doesn't necessarily mean that the pop product is doing great by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, when you get into corporate billionaires and millionaires, and Triple H has been involved as a performer in enough WrestleManias to know, yeah, and the origins of wrestling itself is fucking carny shit. Like, they're selling you something, man. Like, that is the fucking business. So yeah, bro. Say whatever you want, but this has been a horrible fucking build to Mania. Like, it's fucking awful, man. Like, and
right.
I don't know. Yeah, the corporations, and yeah, you want to save face for your sponsors because it's that's where you're making your billions, bro. And I get it. It's the fucking business model. It's capitalism. and everybody's fucking doing their part, man. So yeah, say what you want, but it's still a shit build to Mania. This is bullshit.
Yeah, man. I mean, can you imagine, right? Like, you know what would have been a more proper response, right? So where, it's like, oh, I know, I get it. People are frustrated. I can understand, right? I hear where they're coming from, but like, listen, guess what? But WrestleMania, we got some big stuff planned, man. We got some big stuff. We got some big matches. You're not going to be disappointed. Like, there's ways, guys. This is no longer about like, oh, it's like, all over this week, guys. I made a video on TikTok, and it's shocking. It's laughable that people think that I take this shit to heart with Triple H. I can give two fucking shits, right? But I speak also for a lot of people that are, again, are passionate about not just pro wrestling, but are passionate about WrestleMania, and we're expecting some really good shit and excitement about WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Hype up WrestleMania. Say, you know what? Listen, I apologize for those who weren't as fond over this WrestleMania, over this build, but guess what? We got some big stuff planned for the pay-per-view itself. You don't want to miss out. That's how you conduct business, bro. To just tell your fans to fuck off, who pay their darn hard-earned money on your product, right? To where you're just taking more of their freaking money and you're giving them less. People are not going to be happy, and this is how you respond to fucking people.
And also, again, it being capitalism and America and whatever, like, you got two routes to go here, right? Like, you can make it a little bit cheaper and more accessible and reach the masses or more of them, and allow them or afford them the opportunity to come to these events and participate in these events, or you can shrink that audience, keep raising those prices, and you're just going to be left with, that very few. And you're still going to be making record profit, because you're just charging people more money, a smaller base of people more money. And that's that's America 101. That's capitalism 101. And they don't have to give a fuck. They truly don't. They've got a Netflix deal. They've got TKO. And that is what it is, man. And they don't have to give a fuck.
No, exactly, right. And the craziest thing about all of this, man, is that there are people that will enable this product, that will actually defend the actions of this fucking company, which is it's astonishing, bro. It's absolutely astonishing.
There was three things for me, right? There was obviously Cena, which I'm still excited about. There's fucking Naomi and Jade, mostly Naomi. And then there was the KO and Orton, which we're not having anymore. And that was it, man. That's
it. Outside of that, and again, if people want to name a couple other things than other people, right? And again, that's personal preference. But again, if we're all being honest, man, everything about how people are booked, these storylines, everything has been all over the place, right? Because, you got this IC championship match to where you have four freaking people. You had Braun Breaker, who was a heel, a tweener, and a face, all in the span, guys, within about 2 months. And now you're going to throw in Dominic and Finn Balor. All of it is so lackluster and lazy, right? You have a women's intercontinental champion in Lyra Valkyria, to where she's going after tag titles. She's going after women's tag titles because you have nothing for her championship. You have nothing for Chelsea Green and her United States Women's Championship. She's pretty much left off the card. You have two triple threat matches, right? For the ladies, to where all of them are baby faces. Frickin' Bianca wins the chamber. Frickin' Rhea gets added or inserted into this because she cried and bitched and moaned like Daniel Bryan did at WrestleMania 37. Again, they're all baby faces. Io Sky wins the championship. She just gets miraculously thrusted into all of this with no rhyme or frickin' reason at all, just to put Io Sky in something, I guess. And they have to blur the lines and change their character every single week because they're all faces, and it just confuses your audience and it splits your audience. And you have another triple threat to where there's nothing even on the fucking line. It's just a favor. It's the custody of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, you might as well hang Paul Heyman up at the freaking rafters and call it a Paul Heyman on a pole match or some shit, right? And to where there's nothing on the line. They're also all baby faces. And we'll get into that whole triple threat when we talk about Raw. But it's weird, right?
It's all in all, it's been a shit build. As much as we've been talking about this, and WrestleMania, it's your World Series, it's your Super Bowl, and this is stuff like where this is scripted. You can plan this, and granted, shit happens. But man, this every year, like this has got to be, from January to March or April, like that's got to be like the hottest time, the best shit you're doing. And this has been shit, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys want more proof, right? Because everything that we say, guys, like the numbers and numbers and metrics and everything, they're going to back up what we say, right? Because then now at this point, right, there can be a bunch of schmucks that can have a podcast and just say how they personally feel in this and this and that. But now when we start to talk,
but all in all, I call
numbers,
myself a schmuck too. I'm no different than the other.
I mean, I'm a schmuck too, right? I mean, when it comes to certain things, right? But then there's times to where, okay, we got to start talking about the facts here.
Sure.
That's when we talk about the numbers and the metrics, right? And you see the numbers on Netflix going backwards. You see the numbers on the USA Network is going backwards and not forward, right? And then we get into ticket prices, right? So where now it's what? It's like urge of desperation at this point to urge people to buy tickets, to buy your product, to where now I think one of the highest ticket price numbers, I believe, was like around like $8,500 or some shit, right? Plus tax and everything.
That just screams like tone deaf to me. Like, have you seen what the fuck is going on for regular fucking people, your goddamn audience? Like, bro, like,
for real, yeah.
So save that shit.
That was one of their highest ticket prices, and now guys, they officially have cut their prices in half because nobody's paying to go to this fucking event. Nobody. And now I think now the ticket prices, at least for those that were about 8,000 or higher, now they've cut it down to 5,000. So WWE is pulling out all the stops. Executives like Nick Khan and other executive suits and ties are trying to pull out all the stops because you did this to yourselves, WWE.
Yeah.
It's not just your ticket prices, right? People can just blame how expensive it is, but it's the fact that the product is so fucking bad because you've given them nothing. You've given them half the card. Again, 2 weeks, right? Less than 2 weeks of the show. And now you want to throw all of these matches on the card and nobody's buying this shit. And now you seek desperation. Up here, there's tickets available. We've cut down the prices. It's now maybe $5,000 instead of $8,000.
And then you're going to be like, oh, you guys aren't real fans.
You guys aren't real fans. Oh, thanks. Oh, yeah, those are the real fans, right? Thanks for your money, right? They'll announce, they'll announce attendance records, right? They'll do the same thing for WrestleMania, for this year, right?
Sure.
The most revenue that they've ever made.
I'm sure dude, it's Las Vegas. I guarantee you they're going to make record revenue.
They're going to, they're going to hammer, they're going to shove down the numbers. They're going to shove down those metrics down our fucking throat and act like business is fucking booming. Like fucking bullshit, man. Stop.
Yeah.
It's just, guys, it's nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. And for people like Triple H, to where all he cares about, right? So where now you see him on the Jimmy Fallon show, you see him on this podcast, you see him promote all these commercials and ads and revenues. First of all, why are you doing that? Why are you not putting your talent in these spots? Why aren't you focused on the thing that you are hired and getting paid to do? And that is to be the chief content creative officer. Put Drew McIntyre in that spot. Put Cody Rhodes in that spot. Put Liv Morgan in that spot. Why aren't you giving the talent that sort of spotlight on the Jimmy Fallon show and all these other events, these podcasts? But no, you Triple H, because you don't want to let go of the fact that you're no longer a performer anymore. You're no longer the game. You're no longer the King of Kings. You're no longer the cerebral assassin, right? And here's the thing, Triple H, right? I'm not even going to call for your job. You know what you can do, right? First, he needs to get demoted. That's the first thing he needs to do. He can't be head of creative. But you know what you can do, Triple H? If you want so desperately to be on the camera, if you want to desperately be on the talk shows and the podcasts and all this stuff, sign a Legends deal, right? Have these Legends deals and come onto the show, and you could do your water sprit, you can do your catchphrases, you could do all that fucking shit. But bro, you can't be a creative fucking writer because you suck. People see through your bullshit, right? Even if you want to go down the
and I don't
wrestler
even
road.
know, is he, you know, I mean, I know he's the head, like, is he just the one that approves it, or is he writing it? I don't really know.
No, he's the head writer and he approves
Yeah,
everything.
okay,
That's his role. Everything that gets finalized goes to him. It goes to Triple H.
I know that, like, he's the final call, but I don't know if
No, I mean, he's the head writer of this stuff, man. It's the same way that we've bashed Vince McMahon towards.
Yeah.
It's the same way towards Triple H, right? You are the most arrogant, selfish, narcissistic prick to where you want to sit there and you want to tell fans, which, by the way, are very real, by the way. These are real fans that are frustrated over your fucking bullshit about the product that you're giving them. And you have the fucking nerve to tell them to say, oh, you're not real. It's not real life. Just sit there and enjoy the product that we're giving you. How about fuck you? How about fuck you?
Wrestling isn't real life either, you know.
Right, wrestling, but guess what? We're paying your money because we want it to feel like it's real life.
Right.
We want to make it feel real. We buy and we're outspoken and we're passionate because we love pro wrestling. We love pro wrestling. That's never going to change, right? People get so like up in arms about when people are so critical towards the product, like, oh, if you don't like it, then just don't watch it. Why are you so angry? It's because, guys, we care. It's because we care. If we didn't care, we would leave. And guess what, guys? People say, you know what's fitting, right? People will say, oh, if you don't like it, don't watch. That's exactly what they're doing because less and less people are now tuning into the product live.
I mean,
so
they are losing viewers.
You're losing viewers. So guess what? People are taking your advice. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Yeah, they're not watching it. That's also the fucking problem.
So like what you were saying, you know, when people say, you know, don't like it, don't watch. And, you know, people like, you know, oh, if you don't like this, you know, leave the country. Like, no, I love the country. I love wrestling. I'm gonna be vocal about it and have it, you know, this is what I'm paying for. This is what has been, what can be if people care, if you're, you know, whatever. So no, I'm gonna call it out and say it and, you know, hold you to a standard or try to, you know. They don't have to listen to me, of course, and they won't. But I just that mentality of like, oh, well, fucking, if you don't like it, well, lower your standards or leave because don't raise the bar. No, don't do that. You know.
That's like ordering DoorDash, right? You order like to a fast food place. Let's just say McDonald's, right? You ordered like a Big Mac, some fries, and a drink, and all of a sudden, like you open up the bag and like half of the fries are missing. Right, half of the fries are missing.
You get what you get.
Oh, you got what you paid for. If you don't like it, then well, toodles, tough shit. Like, no, that's not how it works. People have a right to say, where the fuck is my food? Like, this is not what I ordered.
Yeah,
right? It's just like, guys, and for again, Triple H. Listen, I get it. There's people that may say in the wrestling industry may say things just to say it, no doubt. But then there's people again that come from an objective standpoint to say, this is not how you should book, right? It's about listening to your audience. That's why you should listen instead of just taking negative criticism as negative criticism. Listen to these people, listen to what they're saying, right? For you to just any negative feedback that you get, they're not real. The internet's not real. If you don't like it, just don't watch WrestleMania.
I'm going to tie this into something I know we're going to talk about later. And you know what? When it comes, I'm going to fucking, you know, I'm going to fucking gloat in it because it's coming. It's coming.
So look, to end this, right? You know, we mentioned ticket prices. They're cutting them in half. The desperation, and the only people that WWE has to blame at this point is themselves, man. They did this to themselves. It's not just the ticket prices and being too expensive. It's the fact that people are not going to spend a dime to watch any of this bullshit that WWE is feeding them. That's just the truth. So Triple H, if this is how you want to play the game per se, if this is what you want to do, good luck for how far that takes you for next year's WrestleMania.
I mean, he'll be fine. You know, those people, they'll always be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But as far as business is concerned, right? If this is how you want to conduct business, this is how you want to play the game, supposedly, again, no pun intended, then see how far that gets you, and see how far that gets you to next year's WrestleMania, and how people won't feel the same type of way of how you book next year's WrestleMania. Keep doing this shit and see how far that takes you, and see how far that takes you, and how your numbers go, your revenue goes.
I mean, wrestling can go back into the dark ages. It's been there before.
Been there before, man. And there's no reason why, if the product continues to go less and less and less, then guess what? The only thing that they'll have to hide behind is the record revenue. And at that point, Brian, they're not even going to have that anymore. Again, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, again, I made a video about this whole entire situation. Again, it's funny how people think I take this to heart when I don't really give a shit, man. At the end of the day, I just come from an honest perspective, right? I still sleep like a baby at fucking night, guys. At the end of the day, guys, I get it. It's pro wrestling. It's not that serious. But as pro wrestling fans, man, when you're outspoken, it does not make you any less of a fan. It just means that you care. It just means that you want a good product. It's WrestleMania. Your standards should be fucking high. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So, but and the people that sit, and then for the people that think we're gonna just lower our standards because we want to shield and glaze over a fucking company, fuck that shit. Fuck that and fuck you. That's all I'll say.
You enjoy your half box of fries there.
Right.
I want the whole box.
Right.
I want all my fries, goddammit. I paid for the shit.
Goddamn, exactly, bro. Exactly. All right, man. So enough of that shit. We'll get into Raw. I want us to talk a little bit of ratings. Now we'll kind of tie into AEW a little bit here. And I gotta say, man, as far as ratings are concerned, AEW Dynamite is on that ass when it comes to frickin' NXT, man.
They're creeping.
They're creeping, inch by inch, right? I think they gained just this past week another 125,000 some odd just from last week. And again, I also made a video about this as well, talking about the numbers, talking about the metrics and everything. And this is, again, between AEW and NXT, right? Because I know, of course, people, when we talk about, competition, right? It's been AEW and it's been WWE's NXT brand now for the longest time, ever since AEW has been a thing, right? So what was it? AEW, this was 2 weeks ago, right? So where they had 594,000 in their viewership. This is Dynamite. This was from April 2nd, right? The following week, guess what? They jacked up to over 659,000 viewership, right? Granted, I get it. Not the best number, right? And you also have to tie into the numbers.
That's a nice chunk, though.
On Next. That's a great chunk, though, for cable television, right? But then you see, and WWE NXT, this was just April 8th. Their number was 683,000, right? And then just this past Tuesday, their number just came in this past Tuesday, just this week, 663,000. So they lose about 20 some odd thousand this week. So the reason why I bring this up, right, and the reason why I love numbers and talking about numbers, right, because now, again, the opinions are at the wayside. This is strictly facts of what we're talking about. Brian, we talk about this with AEW and the product and everything that I guess the narrative is about AEW. They suck. They're horrible. They don't create storylines, all this and that nature, right? The product is so bad. They're the worst thing that's on television, right? However, everything, Brian, that people say to me and they want to say to, I guess, themselves and to everybody in the wrestling industry, the numbers, at least on a week-to-week basis, they're not really backing it up at all, because I'm seeing AEW's numbers go up and I'm seeing NXT, because if we're comparing it to the WWE product, I'm seeing NXT's just either going down or they're just treading water at this point. So, guys, when is it going to come to the point to when NXT, or AEW, I should say, starts to surpass NXT in ratings? Does that make NXT the worst thing on television now? Does that make NXT one of the worst shows? I mean, this is just an honest statement here. Because if we're saying how AEW is so freaking bad and how they don't produce storylines, they don't do any of this stuff, which is bullshit, by the way. And I get it. AEW has their issues. And Brian, me and you have talked about these issues ever since we've had this podcast. But for fans to be so up in arms about a company that's only been here for 5 to 6 freaking years when they think that WWE is any freaking better, because this is where the tribalism comes into play, to where you don't want to act like WWE is also not losing the same amount of people and viewership, but you just still want to acknowledge all the numbers that AEW is doing. I'm sorry, bro. It's hypocritical. It's so fucking hypocritical, because if you guys are honest with the AEW product, there's still a lot, and I mean a lot, that has to offer right now in that company. You look at Tony Storm, right? You look at Jon Moxley, which for some odd reason people think he's a detriment to the company because he's the world champion. It's just really weird. I get it. The storyline with Cope and everything hasn't been that great. But for you to sit there and tell me that Jon Moxley is is the main problem of AEW's failures, I think you've fell 2 or 3 times too many as a kid. I'm sorry. And that's so it's just very weird, man, how everything that fans want to paint the narrative of, but you see, right, to where AEW, to where their numbers, and if you still, again, you also have to add in their numbers that they stream on Max as well, they're just as the same, or at least not as better than WWE's numbers right now. And we talk about NXT, right? People's like, oh, well, James, NXT is the developmental system. Cut the bullshit. And the reason why I say cut the bullshit is that we talk about NXT, right? And again, NXT, they also produce pretty good, solid television. But let's be honest, their women's division is really good. They got a lot of really good stuff, and that's what's been carrying the load with NXT. But then the male side of things, man, the men's division, it's not a whole lot to grasp, at least with storytelling-wise. A lot of things are just not clicking. They're just not gelling. You have this dark state faction to where things are very hit and miss. So you take in all of that, and you also have seen in the past with WWE and how they're not afraid that if they need to hit a number, if they need to hit a certain number, a certain viewership number, they're not afraid to put on somebody like a Seth Rollins or a John Cena, The Rock, right? Freaking anybody that is on the main roster, a Chelsea Green, right? Not too long ago. So my question is, right, because now, you know, they're just known for, and this is where, you know, people like the Triple H's and everything and such, right? To where, oh, it's just like, you beat our developmental system, right? Good for you, right? That's really cute. But yet when you're trying to get a good number to defeat these people, so now you want to gloat and you want to have your arms out.
Which one is it?
Up. Which is it? Like, is this a developmental system? Because what does that say about all your talent that's in NXT?
Right. I wouldn't say like Ethan Page, like he's not developmental talent. I mean, he's you know, maybe had to polish up or a few things here and there, but he's not a developmental talent.
Yeah, and Ethan Page is honestly one of the best, or at least one of the bright spots in the males division in NXT. So for a dude like Ethan Page, who has a lot to offer, who's been busting his ass for so many years, you know, from the indies, from AEW to now this point in WWE, what is that saying for people like Ethan Page to just call them a developmental system, right? So where are you a developmental system? Or are you actually a third brand? Because again, you won't hesitate to put male or female main roster talents onto this freaking show. So it's just the hypocrisy, right? It's the hypocrisy and the excuses that even WWE fans will still give towards WWE, but towards AEW, oh man, we won't hesitate to give them the negative feedback and the criticism. But WWE, we'll give them every excuse in the book, right? Oh, there's this, and then there's that. Oh, it's like, oh, this, and like, stop, cut the freaking bullshit, man. It's like, listen, we shouldn't be here, Brian, as wrestling fans to I guess prey on the downfall of a certain company, right? Because that's just what it is. There's objective criticism, which is what we will give towards AEW. But then there's fans that clearly just want to see the downfall of a company, bro. Because here's the reality. Yeah. The reality is that, guys, the better that AEW does as a company, the better it is for us fans, because it more puts
the better WWE does as a company
on the wall. They puts their back on the wall and they do better as a company. Exactly right, Brian. Yeah. So, Brian, what are your takes, man, as far as these ratings go, man, between AEW and NXT, and some thoughts, man? The floor is yours.
You know, again, man, it's like one of those things where, like, I can't help but like compare it, or at least, you know, draw the parallel to like where we've come, you know, as a people, with like the tribalism of like, man, I don't give a fuck if it's New Japan or AEW or WWE or NWA back in the day. I'm a fan of fucking wrestling, like, period.
Right.
You know, and it's fun, like, if for all those people out there, if you follow James and us from the beginning, like, look, I'm a equal opportunist, man. Like, if you're doing good, I'll give you your flowers. If it's shit, I'll say it's shit. For AEW or WWE, like, I don't care. And I think we've got with AEW specifically, like, I really in the past few months, like, you just talk about WrestleMania season, say, let's take that period of time, and if you want to say from like the Rumble till now, as far as storyline wise and like things kind of like, okay, I can see where they're going, and look at like AEW is doing it better right now in this moment.
There's an argument,
and I can credit, we finally, I think, or they finally have maybe put the whole CM Punk thing behind them. And also, man, like, it seems like everybody or a lot of the big people, big stars, are finally like all healthy. I mean, John Moxley and the Death Riders, Swerve, Cope, Christian, Samoa Joe, Tony Storm, obviously. So I think, when you finally get those pieces healthy consistently, which AEW, I mean, they've had their injury history has been fucking horrible. And that plays into it, of course. Right. But at least for right now, in the last few months, and I know, again, I'm not much on the internet, with what people are specifically, complaining about. But yeah, but Moxley and the Death Riders, him holding the AEW championship the past however long he's had it, and what they've been doing, and now kind of building Swerve to hopefully take that title. And that is a caveat too with AEW, that historically their booking has been shit, or just like so inconsistent, that they start a storyline and then just fucking drop it out of nowhere. So that does need to tighten up. But I mean, you got Omega back, the Bucks back. Hopefully things are turning the corner here. Now it still has to, will it be more of the same? We'll see. But these last 2 months, man, storyline wise and shit, AEW's been better, flat out, man. So yeah, I assume the ratings will bear that out. And, again, WWE has had such a head start on everybody else, and is such a well-known, ingrained part of pop culture society in America, that it, at least in our lifetime, James, it is and always will be the top, the most recognizable, probably, wrestling company. But that doesn't mean people can't be on their ass, man. And some of them are doing it damn good right now. Yeah,
absolutely, for sure. So, yeah. And as far as, listen, the AEW product is concerned, right? I mean, I mentioned about, AEW Dynasty, right? And a lot of their pay-per-views, to where they do a really good job, because again, the performers can just go out there and they can just do their thing. But the one thing I will say about the pay-per-views is that you got to cut down the match card. That's something that they really have to do. I just think that there's just way too many matches on that card, to where you get to these main events and you even see it from the crowd that's tuning in there live. They're so burnt out. And it's just like, it's doing a disservice to the main event itself, because you've done all of these matches to where, they're action-packed, there's blood, there's Crimson Mask. And then when you get to the main event, you're burnt out. You're exhausted.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think AEW Dynasty was what, like almost like over 5+ hours, if you add in,
was it that long? Oh shit. Yeah. I see. I still haven't, and I can't watch because I don't buy the pay-per-views. So yeah, I had no idea it was that long. That's a long ass fucking show.
That's a long. That's what I mean. Yeah, man. Like, you gotta cut that down, at least down to at least an hour or so. Like, you gotta start cutting down.
I even say, I mean, 4 hours is a long ass show, man. I mean, that's
4 or 2 at least, somewhere.
Like, I mean,
there.
I think like for your big ones, like a Mania or All Out, and like 3 is like for your big ones, like 3 is like a good number. But man, I mean 4 and 5, that's a
4 or
long
5.
fucking time, man.
That's what I mean, man. Like they gotta cut down. They gotta cut down these shows, man, just a little bit, to where you're doing again a disservice to few of these matches, to where a lot of people are just exhausted, and they'll go back and reminisce, and they'll be like, wait, what happened in this match? Like there was so many matches, I just freaking forgot because I was so trained out from the show. Not that necessarily anything was bad, but it's just a lot to take in, and like you're so into this certain match and that certain match, but then when you get to the end of the show, because there's so much damn shit going on, you're exhausted, you're burnt out. So that's something that AEW still needs to do a lot better with.
Or make that shit 2 nights. Something like your bigger shows,
something,
2 nights. Yeah.
Whatever it is you got to do. But I mean, stuff like we talk about, FTR and their heel turn and how well it was done, and how potentially you can get to a Cope and a Christian. Reuniting of a tag team, right? Christian and Nick Wayne, they were in a segment I saw just last night on Dynamite. Cope was mentioned about the whole when Christian Cage cashed in his contract, getting the championship. So clearly you can tie into that to get to that to pretty much AEW All In, to where I think that would be a great spot to do it at. Edge and Christian against one of the best tag teams today in FTR. I mean, come on, bro. Seriously.
Take my money. Take my money.
Sitting right there in your lap, bro. For AEW All In, FTR, and one of the greatest tag teams ever in professional wrestling, Edge and Christian. Like, come on, bro. Seriously. So there's, and again, and for people to say like there's nothing to offer from this company, like, dude, guys, cut the shit, bro. Like, stop coddling the balls of Triple H and WWE in this company. It's like, it's fucking ridiculous, man. It's just so, and listen, with AEW, I mentioned, their pay-per-views and how long they are, right? Again, this MJF Hurt Syndicate thing, I'm not with it. It's just very weird on how MJF is so desperately wanting to join Hurt Syndicate and just being a part of it. I get it. There's a bigger story at play, to where MJF could be coming out, bigger as a bigger heel, turning on the Hurt Syndicate maybe, and, having a faction of his own, which is why I mentioned, about MJF and FTR, right? We talked about Pinnacle. That, where they can do the Pinnacle, reunition of the Pinnacle, or that type of trio, and all these things, man. Even the Death Riders, right? Speaking of the Death Riders, they lost their trios championships yesterday to the Ops. Both Samoa Joe, Hook wasn't even part of the matchup. I believe it was because of storytelling wise.
So I haven't seen. Yeah, I got to go watch. I haven't seen that.
It was Shibata and it was Will Hobbs that filled in for Hook, and they won the AEW Trios Championships from the Death Riders, per se.
All right, I don't want to get off here, but I got a time out there. So do you know why Hook wasn't there? Because that, off the top of my head, I'm like, that's a typical AEW bullshit. Like, why are you throwing Hobbs in there now? And like, what the fuck? You got the opposites.
That I don't know. That's a very good question. Now, Jon Moxley was a part of the matchup as well, so he replaced Pac in this match. So Pac wasn't a part of it. So I guess in regards to something that involved Hook as well, I guess maybe it was storytelling wise. Again, I don't know. I don't have any notes or any recollection of why.
I'm just wondering now, like if they're going to go into like, well, Hobbs was there when we won the match, so don't convolute this shit, man. Like, God damn it.
Yeah, it seems like with Bill. I know I'm going off on it, the other way here, but like, seems like with Powerhouse Hobbs, again, much love to the guy, but it seems like he's always like. It's like a Seth Rollins situation, to where he's always inserted into somebody else's storyline. Like he's making these saves, like he's like the mystery, like the mystery tag partner, this mystery person, right? It's just like a lot of things that Will Hobbs does, to where people say like, oh, a big push is coming for Will Hobbs, or push him as his band. Like, is there really?
And it never does.
And it never really truly does, man. So I don't know. Again, I'll have to know more about that whole that whole situation, right? I mean, I
Gotcha.
don't, again, listen, I don't mind the ops at all. I truly don't.
I like
I
them,
mean,
man.
if you want to put titles on them and do it correctly, which is why, again, with Hook, I mean, if the faction is with Hook, Samoa Joe, and Shibata, that whole gang, wouldn't you want that moment to where Hook is a part of the matchup to win that championship? So that's the only thing I find odd, at least in the moment, or at least that's my instant thoughts about it. But we'll soon find out, man. Again, Toni Storm is Toni Storm. She's fucking killing it. She just completely, like, this was Collision, to where she just cut a promo and just completely just like annihilated everybody that was involved in the Owen Hart freaking Cup tournament.
Oh, I gotta see it. Oh my God.
Freaking who else? Freaking Athena. People like Chris Statlander. She's like,
Statlander.
She's like, what a woman. So many people. She's fucking great, man. I mean, seriously, she's awesome.
Oh,
so much love to Toni
she
Storm.
is so fucking awesome, man.
I really never thought, Brian, if you were to tell me, Brian, like 5 some odd years ago, that Toni Storm was going to be one of the best things in pro wrestling, I would have laughed in your face. I'm like, Toni Storm? Like, no, stop. And,
like, if you had told, like, seriously, like, hands down, if there is one single wrestler that I will stop what I'm doing to watch whatever it is she's doing in the ring or in a promo, it's her. And never, if you go back to even when she was with the Outcast, or whatever it was, you would have never, I would have never believed that. And fuck, man, she is brilliant. Damn it.
She really is, man. She really is. So again, I don't know, kind of going back to the ops and the trios titles, again, I don't know why Hook was replaced in this match. I don't know if it's storytelling wise. I don't know if this was actually just like a last minute audible, just to, I guess, create like a surprise. Who's going to be the partner with, Shibata and with Samoa Joe? I don't know. So I guess we'll find out more, and we'll talk more about it, of course, when WrestleMania is over and done with and everything. But so those are your ratings, man. I mean, look, AEW, man, again, the number's not great. They still got a lot more they need to work on. But as far as work, going up against NXT, which has always been the comparison in the wrestling industry,
right?
They're on that ass, man. And all it takes, Brian, now is just one more really good show from AEW to where they can surpass NXT in their ratings and their viewership. So now the narrative is going to be, what is an NXT? That's now the worst thing on television, right? To where I don't know, man. I would love to just hear the reaction from people from when AEW actually surpasses NXT. I can't, because I think it's going to happen at some point, because they're right there. They're like, we're talking we're talking less than 20 some odd thousands of people in viewership now. So I think it's only a matter of, it's only a matter of when at this point. So, but we'll see. We shall see. Again, we'll go further into AEW once they get closer to AEW All In. Of course, we'll talk about that show and many more stuff. Again, maybe if we have time, in the near future, we'll talk, or at least I'll try to talk about some NXT Stand and Deliver, as they got a show coming up for WrestleMania weekend as well. And of course, a bunch of other stuff moving forward as we get closer to WrestleMania and beyond into the summer. All right, man, enough stalling. Let's just get some Monday Night Raw. This was the go-home show, right? This is the go-home show.
Go-home show, people, to WrestleMania.
The final week, and you got to sit back and wonder, like, all right, this is it. It's Mania week. You got to think that this company had something this past Monday, something to get us excited, that much more excited about any of these matchups coming up. Whether it's with Jey Uso, Gunther, this triple threat match, this women's triple threat match. So let's just see what they got, right? So Gunther comes out, says a bunch of words. His response to Jey Uso's passionate promo from last week, how Gunther was shook last week, and all of a sudden Gunther now has all of this confidence now, and now he's going to tear apart freaking Jey Uso, and he's going to remain the champion. And guys, that was legit what the first 15 some odd minutes of your show is just freaking done. Just Gunther just saying a bunch of words, saying so many and yet saying so fucking little to start the show.
So little.
And that's it, bro. And then Jey Uso, since we're talking about this matchup, Jey Uso comes out later on. This was like the second hour of the show. he comes out and he's all serious, right? He's got a, black shirt, his black glasses and everything, right? And now, like, he's talking and he's also saying a bunch of words, right, that don't really mean shit at all. And then finally he does this little shtick. He's like, please hit my music. Oh yeah. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. And then we eat for several freaking minutes. And
James, guys, I gotta stop you.
Go ahead, Brian. I'll just let you go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So I didn't know if you had much more to say about that, but yeah, so I'm like tying this back into like what Triple H said. This is the epitome of it right here. This fucking storyline, Gunther and Jay.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep.
Like, so what was it back in, when did they start that? October, November with Gunther of like, oh, I lost my confidence and the shaking of hands and shit. It was probably around that time, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're still here into WrestleMania where last week, again, it's just, I mean, we get that beat down from Gunther and you think, okay, this is Gunther and what his character kind of, the Gunther that was the IC champion and that became the world champion. That was that Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
But you've had him for the last 6 months waffling back and forth about, I don't even know, being shook or losing his confidence or what the fuck ever. I mean, just flip-flopping back and forth from when last week he's out there and he's shook just because Jay says some shit to now going back out there and trying to be, the ring general. What the fuck? And Jay fucking Uso. And this is where the Triple H shit. Mark mine and James your fucking words too, because God, so he comes out there like usual. Like, it's just the yeet shit. He says absolutely fucking nothing. He is not a good promo. Like, he's not. In tandem, again, we've talked about with tag team, but him, the way his delivery and what he's saying, it is not, and it's not to shit on, like, I'm really not saying this to shit on him, but that is not world champion, face of your company, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins on the mic. It's not. This man, this yeet shit, like when Triple H is talking about like, whatever, they're not real fans and whatever, this shit is gonna die a slow fucking painful death. Mm-hmm. And it's not even gonna be, unless they pull the plug on it early, but this is going to run its course until, depending whenever they want to stop it, until just nobody's fucking yeeting.
Yep.
And then there's nothing. Exactly. Absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And then there you go. That's your world title match of fucking WrestleMania. Yeah, and what's the worst thing in wrestling? It's not the boo, it's the silence. And the yeet shit is gonna get fucking old, just like any type of gimmick like that. It's fun, it's whatever, and you can you can build off of it.
Absolutely.
But they have done nothing else with Jay. And now and they will put that title on him at Mania 2 months. 2 months tops. And he's gonna lose that title.
It wouldn't shock me, man. It would not shock me at all. I mean, guys, Jey Uso comes out here, right? He comes out, stands on the announce table, and, he mentions, his mom's in the crowd, right? And he's like, talks about like, oh, hey, he's like, people ask me, am I crashing out after what Gunther's been doing to me and my family, right? But now after what I heard from Gunther, it seems like he's afraid. It seems like he's mad. And then Jey Uso just does a shtick, and then they just yeet. Guys, that's all that happened.
All
guys,
it was.
That's your build. And guys, that's it. By the way, what the sad part is, guys, it's over. It's done. That's your build. The only thing that this company did somewhat decently well was the actual attack from Gunther onto Jimmy Uso. And they couldn't even follow up with that properly.
Right, and guys, they completely shit the bed with it the next week. Yep.
All of this, guys, just to get to the same matchup that we just saw at Saturday night's main event, a week before Jey Uso won the frickin' Rumble. And shout out again to Denard, because he also made this same exact claim to where, why would you have to build up this same exact match to where Jey Uso has already lost clean twice to this freaking dude? The matchup was nowhere near anything entertaining. Nobody needs to see anything else between these two, but yet because everybody yeets and everybody gives WWE their money to come to these crowds and they freaking yeet, right? That's the people that Triple H and this company wants to cater to. And guys, that's your build.
And that's unfortunate, because I don't want to, because it's unfortunate for Jey that because yes, this is, and it's not because of Jey. Like, look at any gimmick or whatever like this throughout the history of wrestling. It's got a shelf life, and it loses its appeal quickly once, because now, right, they're still eating until he gets that title. Now he's got the title. Now what the fuck are you going to do? Nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. And now you're hearing it more from the wrestling fans, right? So we're, this build hasn't really been that great. This build sucks. There's really nothing happening going on. Guys, we try to tell you. We tried to freaking tell you that there was going to be nothing. There was going to be no excitement outside backpacking all of the yeet stuff. This is all they had. And guys, we were right. Both of us, me and Brian, were right about this entire situation.
And I'm sure many others.
And many others as well, right?
But actual like wrestling fans that are like fucking, look, I'm not kissing your ass because it's WrestleMania, and I like Jey Uso, what I do, and I like Gunther, which I do, but this is fucking horrible.
Absolutely, guys. It is the drizzling shits is what I would call it. Guys, and that's your build. For 3 months, we've been doing this now for several months, and nothing outside of 1 week. There's been absolutely nothing. Nothing has got accomplished outside of eating. You have been given nothing to care about this matchup. And now you're going to watch the same match like you did at Saturday night's main event, to where it's not going to be any different. It's not going to be just as more exciting, right? And now the only difference is that Jey Uso is going to win that title. We're going to yeet for several minutes, and people expect us to just jump on the bandwagon, just jump on the train. No, thank you. I'd rather go pick up a bad habit and play in traffic. I'd rather go smoke or play in traffic somewhere. No, thank you. Like, no, thank you. Stop. Enough, man. And that's your build, guys. That's your build. And we try to tell y'all. And there's nothing. There's no excitement. There's nothing. No momentum going into this storyline or this matchup. Absolutely nothing. And that's just it, man. So, Bayley and Liv Morgan were in a matchup. Your champion, Liv Morgan, gets rolled up by Bayley to where now Bayley and Lyra have all the momentum. They got all the momentum going into their tag title opportunity, where let's have one of your champions get pinned and rolled up by Bayley. Now, granted, is it somewhat believable? Sure, right? The one thing I just don't like about roll-ups is that sometimes they just do it in a way to where it's just not believable. But guys, Liv is a champion. Whether you want to, however you want to take in the women's tag titles, they're your champions. Right. So where your build is for one of your champions to lose. And now you're going to see the same match to where now it's like, and WWE does this a lot, right? It's like, this is the action packed stuff that you're going to get just a couple nights away until WrestleMania, right? This is the same type of excitement that you'll get when you see Lyra and Raquel brawl on the outside. There was a really bad botch to where Raquel tried to put Liv Morgan's foot on the rope, and the referee sees it and he tries to act like he didn't see it. Raquel couldn't put Liv's foot on the rope because Liv Morgan wasn't in the right spot to do it in, because she was too far away. It came off so freaking bad. And now again, man, this is what I mean about certain botches like this. And I get it. Botches happen. I understand it. But guys, I've said this about Damian Priest, to where Damian Priest did not kick out in time, to where the referee has to blatantly count to 3, and Damian Priest doesn't kick out. He doesn't do a spot correctly, to where it's spots like this to where you can't fuck up, because now it blurs the lines about what professional wrestling. Because what are you telling?
There's spots where if you fuck that one spot up, it's
fucked, because now it's like, now you're telling your audience, say, oh, well, why didn't he count the 3? Oh, because Raquel didn't do this. She was supposed to do this. Guys, this was a mess, man. And then you got all this chaos on the outside. Again, the matchup was fine up until that point. I mean, Bayley and Liv, I love both of them to death, but your response, or at least try to create something out of this tag match, something out of nothing. and your response is just to do this match, Liv Morgan getting rolled up, Bayley wins this match, and guys, that's it. And then we move on to the next segment. I mean, Brian, do you have any thoughts? Because I don't know.
Not much other than, I mean, yeah, it's so, I mean, your tag champs and then your IC champ and Bayley. You know, and I got to go back to a couple weeks, and I know they've already had the match, but I mean, this matchup at WrestleMania doesn't make sense to me at all to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the way I see this is Bayley turning on Lyra is the only, like, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna end, but I mean, I don't think Liv and Raquel should be losing the tag titles to a tag of Lyra and Bayley. No,
I don't think they will. No.
So yeah, I don't. Unless Bayley's turning, I don't know what this is.
I hope we would do right by Liv Morgan for somebody who has been crushing it this year with the World Championship and has been putting on really good work. I hope we would at least give her at least the respect to give her a WrestleMania victory and have her walk out still as tag champion. For her to them to just lose to just a tag team that was just thrown together, right? They had a matchup
thrown together,
right? You show mutual respect, and Bayley's like, he gives her the
now you're a tag.
Now you're a tag team, right? Now you win tag championships, and now we're gonna tell a story with those tag championships amongst Bayley and Lyra if they do win those. Stop!
Please
man,
no!
Stop. Please no! Yes, please no! So it went to where, again, guys. This is what I mean about championships in this company, right? We add more and more championships because guess what? We can put that championship on WWE Shop, and guess what? We're making more money off of WWE Shop because we could freaking sell it. That's why, guys, they're adding championships to this product. It's not because it's good for the
merch.
It's good for the storylines or for the women's wrestlers. It's for the fucking money, guys. And it's blatantly obvious because even Chelsea Green, right? That's another different discussion. But for Lyra's championship, like, there has been nothing but the most random fucking matches that she's been placed with people like Ivy Nile, with people like Dakota Kai, with people like Raquel Rodriguez, and now with Bayley. It's all random ass matches that nobody gives a fuck about. Guys, go back and watch this match yourself with Bayley and Liv Morgan. Guys, the crowd was half asleep. Even when they were doing the near falls, Brian, if you saw like the near falls, they didn't, the crowd would be like, "Oh, I thought freaking Bayley won the match up there." Guys, they were still silent. They were still on their fucking chairs. They didn't give a shit about this matchup because they were not given a reason to give a shit, guys.
And I hate that because as much as I've talked about on this podcast, Bayley is fucking awesome, man. And
she's great.
Damn it, man. It just
And that's what I mean, man. You're gonna turn her heel. Why? Because you have nothing for her as a face. Right, she could be a fine baby face. Just book her properly. Yeah. Look at least what she was able to do with Io Sky. At least, again, that storyline wasn't great, but at least it had its moments to where, oh yeah, we can work with Bayley as a baby face here. It's just like, okay, you're gonna turn back Bayley as a heel because you're that lazy and inept to where you can't figure out anything for Bayley as a face. Like, stop, man, enough.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on before I have a freaking heart attack. Oh god, this is even worse, man. Oh my goodness. You have Rey Mysterio and you have Julius Creed. The crowd, Sacramento.
I fast forwarded through. Yeah, I didn't even see.
They were somewhat on their feet because it's Rey Mysterio and he's from close to that area, right? So there's some people. It's like almost in a hometown crowd, even though it's not. But the crowd was hot for Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was gassed. I mean, he's an older dude. I mean, he's an older vet now. So, but he wins this match. Again, the match, guys, I don't care. Freaking right. You have El Grande Americano, right? The latte from Starbucks comes out. And after the matchup, he attacks Rey Mysterio to I guess build up their matchup for Mania. And guys, that was it. Just a simplistic. Guys, like this is the most generic, lazy ass fucking shit, right? Listen, Brian, we talk about Chad Gable, Grande Americano, right? This whole shtick. You know, you talked about like the little vignette, right, that they did. Like, oh, it's like El Grande, like it was kind of like a Mexican heritage type of like shtick.
Yeah,
where,
right.
It's telling more of a story of who this dude is, but it's supposed to be like in a comedic way. Like, all right, it comes off as silly, but you know what? At least it's something,
It was
right?
right. It was
Why don't you
entertaining. Yeah.
do more stuff like that rather than going the most generic, lazy ass route to where the dude just comes out after the matchup and just does a blatant attack to, or just a simplistic attack, I should say, to Rey Mysterio, and that's it. The match is over and it's done when we move on. Right? It's like they tell me you don't give a shit without telling me you don't give a shit. And this is a matchup, guys, that was thrown onto the card less than 2 weeks away from the show, and you expect people to give a shit. Stop. It's like, what about this made you that much more excited about WrestleMania? I want to know. Like, seriously, like we're almost like an hour into the show, guys. What has happened? This is the go home. Like, this is no more mulligans anymore, guys. I don't give a shit anymore. This is the go home show to WrestleMania. This is Mania week, and this is what this company has for you. But they won't be hesitant to take your money, right? Oh, thanks for your $10,000 of dollars. Enjoy the show. But if you don't like it, fuck off. That's this company. I'm fucking done. Brian, any thoughts, Rey Mysterio at all? What are your thoughts?
So I'm going to ask this question first, and then, gosh, if the internet marks will let me know if I'm wrong. But so before Gable started this gimmick, right before he went away, with that last match or interaction he had, it was with Penta, correct? Or was it with Mysterio and somebody in the LWO?
Well, he had the match with Penta, right? Penta's debut.
Right.
I want to say that it has been lately with LWO because.
Well, I know now, yeah, but before he started that gimmick, it was because of Penta, right?
It was
not Mysterio.
It was a mixture of both, honestly. It was both LWO and Penta, but Penta was kind of a part of it, so kind of yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's my only thing with it is so now you got Penta in a fatal 4-way and Gable doing this with Mysterio. Like, if I just, to me, the payoff for this, and if you wanted to do this gimmick, which that start with that little vignette, I thought that was really, really good. And since then, it's just kind of gotten shittier each week. But I think the guy to do that with would have been Penta, not LWO. And
right, yeah.
So
at least to give Penta a storyline, something that you could do really well and work well with Chad Gable, to where he's been doing really good as a heel, bro. It's like, that's a good again, and that's what I mean, man, about these matches on Monday Night Raw. Sometimes, like, the timing of when you throw Penta and Chad Gable in there, I get it. Like, the debut matchup with Penta was fine. You put him in there with a good in-ring performer and a good worker like Chad Gable. So now, why don't you up the ante and develop a storyline? And now you're given more of a reason to care about the matchup at WrestleMania between Penta and between
because
Chad
that's
Gable.
what set him on this journey, because he lost that match, right? Penta beat him.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So, like, that's why he went to do this.
All of a sudden,
I got to find the luchador legend.
Right, and then it turns all of a sudden into what the LWO now. Now the attention is turned to LWO. So yes, it started off with Penta, and now it slowly shifted its focus over to the LWO. It's just, guys.
And I think that's where they fucked up. I think if you take Penta out of that fatal 4-way and you had built this feud between El Grande Americano and Penta.
Yep.
And you had been doing that for the last 2 months, that could have been really fucking good.
Absolutely, right? But we'll put Penta, we'll just throw Penta in a title match, right? And people will defend it, saying like, oh, it's bad booking when Penta gets a title match, right? No, well, brother, I can book any schmuck and put them in a fucking title match. It doesn't mean that's good booking. It doesn't mean that people care. Like to get to the title match, right? You gotta have them level up. You gotta slowly let it burn in a way, to where over time, the more you allow the fans to develop a connection with Penta and put him in good storylines like you could have done with Chad Gable, it makes him going after the title that much more special. Guys, it's not fucking hard.
Which is why I think there's a clear winner in that fatal 4-way, because just of what you said, because you've given them time to level up and build that connection. And I think there's a clear winner coming out of that matchup. And I think it's the right call.
Right.
Yeah.
And now Penta's gonna he's probably not gonna walk out as the champion. He's already gotten this opportunity. And then where the fuck does he go? Is he gonna get another freaking rematch? You've already taken him to the championship freaking title picture already, right? There's times to where, right, you gotta read the room and you gotta, call an audible and just strike while the iron is hot. But for Penta, like, you just thrust him in this IC title matchup to where, you put him in there with Braun Breaker, who's a tweener, right? And now you're trying to mesh now with a Judgment Day and Finn Balor, Dominic. Guys, it's all over the place. It's lazy. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Moving on. Again, I don't want to harp on that anymore. What else, man? Oh, we have a Triple H love fest with this whole Hall of Fame shtick, guys. I mean, guys, do we remember who anyone else is in the Hall of Fame, by the way? Because all I just see is Triple H nonstop. I mean, like,
actually,
the love of
who else? Because there was somebody that
it's Lex Luger. It's Michelle McCool,
Luger.
And I think the nation is it the natural disasters, I believe that are also in
typhoon
there as well.
and earthquake.
Yeah, like all these people. Like, are we not gonna promote any of them for this fucking Hall of Fame, right? But we'll promote Triple H. We'll coddle the fucking ball sack. And I get it. Well, James, he's the headliner. I get it. But like, why not promote all of these other? If you're just promoting,
I haven't since that. Now that you just say that, since they came out with that, where like who was it? It was DDP and somebody else who kind of let Luger know he was. I haven't
Cody
really
Rhodes.
seen anything.
It was Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, yeah. Since that, I haven't seen anything regarding Luger or any high. And maybe I missed it, but I ain't gonna miss that Triple H shit because it's every commercial.
It's everywhere. It's every single fucking show. They got to remind you he's the headliner. Right? He's the chief of content creative officer. They remind you of that every time a show goes off the air to remind you that he's the one booking this garbage. And then you got to remind everybody that he's the headliner of the Hall of Fame. Guys, I have never seen such a love fest for.
It's kind of like how
he's booking the show. Like
kind of like how Donald Trump always seems to win at his own golf course.
Right, like
that's funny. That's interesting.
It's like, imagine like he's booking the show, like, hey, don't forget to put my video package in about the Hall of Fame, right? Because people need to people need to be reminded that I'm the headliner of the Hall of Fame, guys. It is so exhausting. Like, I get it. He was a good performer. I'm not going to deny that. But guys,
he was. Yeah.
Like, guys, my God, man, like the fact that we just coddle the balls of this dude and how much he is such an egotistical fucking maniac to constantly put in his little vignettes and his freaking video packages of his Hall of Fame shtick. It is ridiculous. I've never seen it with Vince McMahon, right? You would never see Vince McMahon in front of the camera ever. Maybe there was maybe 10 times that he would do cut interviews and maybe do shows, and that's maybe being.
Well, I guess I got to pump the brakes on you there, because during the Attitude Era, I mean, maybe he wasn't in the commercials. I can't really remember, but I mean, especially like him. I mean, him and Stone Cold were the show. I mean he was out there every week, and
Well, but the thing is with Vince McMahon, like, again, he was part of the storyline, but as well as like, right. Saw it, but never to the degree of what you're seeing it with Triple H now, is what I'm saying. Like, it is.
Not being part of the storyline or whatever. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like right. That's what I'm saying. At least like Vince McMahon, like, yes, he was running the show, but he was part of the storyline with Stone Cold. So I take that somewhat as completely different. So you're a character that people are gravitating towards, right? So obviously, if you want to promote yourself on the show because you're the grand, storyline with Stone Cold and everybody else, that's different. Triple H, like, you're the head creative writer, right? Just do that. Right. If you're not going to insert yourself in a storyline, right? Which, just do your fucking job and just stay away from the camera. Like, just put your talents that are trying to sell their shtick and their character and their story. Put those fucking people in front of the camera. Enough, man. It's just so exhausting.
And really, I hope, and I know, and that would be up to Luger, and maybe it's not the place, in a Hall of Fame speech, but Luger, for all the ups and downs and, the craziness of the wrestling industry. I mean, that dude's had a life, man. And he was a big star back in the day. I mean, him and Sting in the 80s, the Horsemen going up against the Horsemen. I mean, I'm really looking forward to see Luger, more than anybody there,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Shout out to Lex
And like I
Luger.
said, like I haven't since that, they told him, I haven't really seen anything about him,
No, nothing. It was that little video clip on social media, and that was it. It's been
Yeah.
all Triple H since then.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. AJ Styles defeats Karrion Kross. This is Karrion Kross's first singles match since freaking what? I believe he even said this in a social media clip. I think he said it was like somewhere around July of 2024. This was his first matchup, I believe, since September or October of just this past year of 2024. So it's been a while for Karrion Kross, but Styles beats him with a phenomenal forearm. He wins the matchup. Logan Paul is out there to cut a video package of himself, says some words. Again, he says so many things and says absolutely nothing. Styles wants him to get into the ring. Kross attacks Styles from behind. Styles just takes out both of them. Logan Paul hightails it, retreats up the rampway, and that's it. I mean, guys, like this is, again, guys, we're now in what? The second hour. We're approaching the second hour of the show, and guys, there's been nothing. Can I say this thing too? Because I do want to at least say some positive things here. Karrion Kross is fantastic.
Yes,
Karrion Kross is so fucking good. Again, another dude that is making something out of absolutely nothing, because the booking makes no sense, but what Karrion Kross is trying to do is so fucking good, to where when he hits the phenomenal forearm, or when AJ Styles hits the phenomenal forearm, you see, Kross has this smirk. He's like, oh, it's like he wants to, I guess, bring the best out of Styles, or to expose who Styles truly is. Where he mentioned, like, his fake retirement speech to when he was feuding with Cody Rhodes, right? And he takes the phenomenal forearm with his hands behind his back, like he's just accepting his fate. He's like, yep, this is the AJ Styles that I've been wanting to see. And he accepts his fate, and he takes the phenomenal forearm, and he loses. So like that in of itself, of how Kross is delivering it, is so fucking good. Can I say this too again about Kross, guys? Like, Karrion Kross is the dude. I can't say enough about Kross, man. I put Kross almost on the same pedestal as Bray Wyatt, to where we talk about like smoke and mirrors type of characters, pretty close, right? And he's the only type of real character, right? A guy that is actually really good in his craft. And whether you guys want to admit this or not, you would never tell this from his booking. The dude checks off so many boxes than half of that fucking roster. It's not even close, bro. The dude is so fucking good when paying attention to detail, his work, his mannerisms, his promos, his look, Scarlett by his side. And yet we have absolutely nothing for this dude. We're going to have him take this freaking pinfall loss. You have to be creatively inept to not have anything for this fucking guy at all. It is ridiculous, to where this dude, anywhere he would go, he would be a bona fide star in a company. Anywhere he would fucking go. That's how good this fucking guy is, bro. I mean, guys, just don't take my word for it. Watch this dude work yourself, because let me get to the booking, right? And then Brian, I'll let get your thoughts as well. Like the booking of itself, right? I mean, the booking is that Kross is so obsessed about a heel, right? Which is Logan Paul. Like, I can't have the heel beat the babyface, right? We need Styles, right, to bring out his inner, I guess, ruthless aggression, as John Cena would put it, right?
right.
To defeat Logan Paul. It's just, I don't know, man. It comes across really, because now Kross is now helping out with Logan Paul when he's attacking Styles. It still doesn't add up. The booking is still so fucking weird. But I do got to give a shout out to Kross, man, because again, the dude once again is making something out of nothing. And this dude is hardly on the show. This dude has the most to offer in that company, and he's been giving fucking zilch in this company. And it's fucking ridiculous, man. But we'll freaking throw out all of these other people. We'll throw out Jey Uso to have him yeet nonstop for several fucking minutes, but we'll leave Karrion Kross, who can actually tell a fucking storyline and carry a storyline. Fuck out of here, man. Enough. Brian, what are your takes, man? It's AJ Styles, Logan Paul, Karrion Kross. What are your thoughts, man?
This was the kind of bright spot for me, in a way, of Raw, because of Karrion Kross. You kind of touch on some things. The details of what this guy does. We can go back months, and I can't name or can't think of all the wrestlers, but in those little backstage interviews, he would go up to whoever it was. And if you paid attention, he was copying their look. Like his hair
the
was
hair,
done in their way. Like he was copying them.
Yeah.
And then you get to AJ Styles, which I guess he's kind of, stuck on AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm. And that's all him, by the way. That's not creative. That's all fucking him. That's his fucking creativity. If people want, like, guys, I'm telling you, there is no fucking way. You're not going to sit here and sell me some bullshit that WWE and Triple H came up with that. No, that's Karrion Kross and him paying attention to fucking detail. But yeah, continue.
So yeah, and you talk about, a wrestler, a superstar, what that is, and checking off the boxes. I mean, the guy can cut a killer promo. Absolutely. He's got the look, the entrance, Scarlett by his side. He can go in the ring, everything. Like he does everything. So I say that and all to say that it was a good match. I hope, like, I'm not even talking about Logan Paul. I hope this at WrestleMania is just like the one-off match. It's, the entertainer match, and then they're done with that. And I hope they come back to AJ and Karrion, because there's something here. Like whether that's a feud between them or them kind of trying to join up. I mean, AJ was in the OC, right? I mean, it's not like he can't be, and the Bullet Club, for shit's sake.
Right.
So I don't know if that's headed towards a feud or a partnership, but either way, I think if you put those two guys together, man, they're gonna fucking kill it. So I hope this is kind of just planting the seed of something that is going to happen bigger after Mania between AJ and Karrion. But yeah, man, Karrion Kross, dude, fuck, like why?
Salute to him.
Where is this guy consistently on and letting him cook with the entrance? I mean, everything they do, the entrance is fucking top notch, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So man. Scarlett plays her part well. I mean, yeah. So hopefully we see more of Karrion after Mania.
I hope so, man. Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt that we are going to, but and you know what the sad part is, Brian, the fact that Karrion Kross was the best part of this entire shtick. But the problem is that WWE is trying to sell a Logan Paul versus AJ Styles match,
right?
And everybody can only talk about. Go ahead.
Sorry, like the details, like you mentioned in the match, where he just puts his hands behind the back, and it's like those little things, because that's what story he was trying to tell with AJ. It's
right, and it's those things.
I wonder if like it's just like like the I don't know, like do wrestling fan, like people call themselves like oh, I'm a wrestling fan. Like, do you not see the work he's doing and what?
No, and the fact, and because of how good his attention to detail is, guys, it's overshadowing what WWE's main thing that they're trying to do, which is sell you a Logan Paul versus AJ Styles match, which nobody gives a flying fuck about. And that's the problem, right? That's the problem. To where Karrion Kross is trying to make something out of nothing to sell you a Logan Paul versus AJ Styles match. If Karrion Kross is your bright spot in a Logan Paul versus AJ Styles matchup, we got a fucking problem here. Like like it's the guys, this is it's so bad. Like it is so bad to the point to where you have a guy who is, again, great at his craft, great at what he does. He's trying to make something out of nothing, but yet all people can talk about is Karrion Kross and not this fucking matchup. That tells you a lot. It just speaks fucking volumes, man. It really does. But moving on, man, I'm just enough with this as well. But again, much love to Karrion Kross. Let's just give him that salute as well. Salute to Karrion Kross. All right, this IC title situation, right? Let's just jump into it, and then we'll get to the main event here. You got Braun Breaker was backstage. He was attacked by the Judgment Day. Later on, you had a matchup with Penta and Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins by DQ. You had the Judgment Day come out. It was Mysterio and Carlito. Braun Breaker comes out. Carlito was at least funny because he didn't want to get speared like he did freaking last week. So Carlito, again, another guys that is making something out of nothing with his mannerisms and how scared. Like Carlito is, listen, even though a lot of people don't really care much about Carlito and he kind of feels like he's just there, but it's little things to when he does that. It is good, man. Like the attention to detail of what he does is good as well. So he hightails it because he doesn't want to get speared again by Breaker. And guys, all this was brawling. It was just nonstop brawling. And I think it was Finn Balor that stood tall, I think, by the end of the segment, if I'm correct. And guys, that's it. So that tells you Finn Balor's not winning the championship, clearly. Guys, I don't care. That's your build for this matchup, guys. Just another brawl, because that's all we have, guys, is for people to rush to the ring and just brawl and fight each other. That's your build, because we are so creatively inept. We have nothing else because we rushed Penta to this championship. We're blurring the lines and throwing everybody into one matchup. We had Braun Breaker
trying to tell a Judgment Day story with the IC title.
With the IC title. It's all, guys, it's a fucking mess. It's a mess, and nobody gives a shit. Brian, any thoughts at all? Because I got nothing else to say, but any thoughts that you might have?
The only thought you had touched on this earlier about, wrestlers, kind of going through this developing, evolving, leveling up, to make it to the next level or whatever. In this matchup, man, this screams Dominic Mysterio is walking out of there with that IC title, and I'm actually good with that. Like, I'm not even good with that. I think that's the right call. Like, this dude, man, if you go back to his introduction, and his growth, throughout the last number of years, man, this kid he's really, really fucking killed it, man. And he's still young and whatever. And granted, this is, health wise and a lot of things involved. But dude, like I think he really has the potential. You talk about Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. As young as he is, and if he has a 15, 20-year career, he could surpass them both. Like, I really think he could. So yeah, I think the call. Let me pump the brakes a little bit on that on Eddie Guerrero, because Eddie Guerrero, that's hard for me to say, but he's made so many improvements, and the connection with the crowd. It's as if we've watched him grow and been along with that ride.
Yeah.
And I think he not deserved. He's earned, an IC title shot or run here. So yeah, I think he is going to walk out the champion, and that's the right call.
Sure. Yeah. And it's possible, man, because it's very, I don't know how likely it is at this point, because how much they've botched Braun Breaker, that he's even going to walk out with that championship.
Right. That's kind of the hesitation. Yeah. But at this point, that's why I'm saying, like, get that IC title off of him. Like, get it off of him.
Exactly. All right, man. Let's just get to this main event here. So backstage, before we get to the ring itself, the main event segment itself, you had backstage, Paul Heyman's waiting for his tribal chief, Roman Reigns, backstage. Paul Heyman, CM Punk comes in. He's like talking with Paul Heyman. He puts his arm around him. It's like the worst possible timing, right? So where it's like it's like when you're talking to this girl and all of a sudden your actual girlfriend walks in and she gives you this look and just walks off. That was Roman Reigns, right? Punk's got his arm around him. He's like, "Look in my eyes. What do you see?" Right? Kind of trolling like his theme song. He's like, a cult of personality. It's like, he laughs like, "No, a real friend." And he puts his arm around his shoulder. Roman Reigns just looks, and he's just got this jealous look on his face. He's just like an angry ex-girlfriend. He just walks off. He's like, "My tribal chief," and he just walks off. So there was that backstage. So Roman Reigns comes out to the ring, and first off, Paul Heyman tries to give him the microphone. He's still alongside him, of course, to the ring, but Paul Heyman tries to give him, like he does, like the pass of the microphone. Roman Reigns doesn't even want it. He just grabs his own microphone from the timekeepers area. And then Roman Reigns
details, people.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, making something out of nothing, at least, right? So Roman Reigns goes on about, "Oh, Heyman, why would you portray me, right? Why would you do this? Why would you do that?" They're trying to go back to this whole thing with the War Games matchup from Survivor Series. Like, I owe Punk a favor, and I'm, having this favor, and it's like, looks like the only person that's getting screwed from this favor is what Roman Reigns is saying is, well, shoot, me, right? And they kind of just continue to bicker at one another. Seth Rollins then comes out, and Seth Rollins like, maybe you need to start understanding why Paul Heyman is doing this of what he's doing, which is being alongside CM Punk, saying talking about, of course, reminiscing again their days of the Shield and all this other stuff. And Roman Reigns is like, you know what, he's right. He's kind of paying more of his attention to Paul Heyman. He's like, he's right. He's like, you made your choice and now I've made mine. And he clotheslines Rollins, throws Rollins out the ring, and then like Paul Heyman, he's got this happy look on his face. Roman Reigns pie faces freaking Paul Heyman to the floor. Punk then comes out because he's got to save his best friend, right? He comes out. They start brawling, both Roman and Punk. Punk tries to come to the aid for Paul, turns around, he eats a spear. Rollins hits Roman Reigns to the back with a steel chair, pretty much the same attack that he did when he turned on him with the Shield, and the same steel chair shot spot from WrestleMania last year. That was the only little detail that I liked, honestly, from this segment. Again, it's making something out of nothing, really. And then Rollins stomps Punk, and then Rollins is standing tall with the steel chair, with Punk with Heyman in the corner, looking like he just seen a ghost. And guys, there was 6 minutes left, by the way, in the show. They ended several minutes early before the 10:30 mark, and they completely just cut the show, right? You have the ending credits to where, again, you have Lee Finning and Triple H to remind you that they booked this garbage shit fest of a show, and then the show goes off the air, man. So Brian, and the reason why I bring this up, right, to where you would think, right, whether we would like it or not, whether they would produce it well or not, you had 6 minutes left in the show. That tells me everything, that you just want to get it out the way. Just get this out the way for 15 minutes. We're going to leave several minutes off the show and just be fucking done with it. You had 6 minutes on this show. Like, come on, man. You left 6 minutes and your ending segment, to which I get it. If you want to, recommend or at least acknowledge some good that was in this segment, right? The whole steel chair, right? Roman not accepting Paul Heyman's microphone. I get it. But again, guys, I go back to the whole reason why we're here. We go back to when Paul Heyman finally, I guess, exposed this favor, or CM Punk, I guess, if you want to call it, from SmackDown not too long ago, right? It's where the favor is that he's got to walk down with Paul Heyman, or CM Punk is going to be alongside Heyman for the matchup at the Triple Threat for WrestleMania, right? And it felt like Roman Reigns came across more as the heel, because the fans are cheering because Punk is in the ring, right? Because Punk is the one that's now alongside Heyman. He's like, no, my tribal chief, I can't do that to CM Punk. This is the favor. I can't do that. You hear the crowd erupt, right? That was several weeks ago. Now you hear Roman Reigns to where, like, he's pandering to the crowd. They're booing Paul Heyman. They're chanting, you fucked up. So after cheering for Paul for saying, no, my tribal chief, I can't do this to Punk, the crowd erupts. And now several weeks later, now the crowd is turning on Punk. Do you guys understand how fucking stupid and how all over the place this fucking booking is? Brian, that's the fucking problem. So we're going into this, there were all fucking faces, and now you think you've done enough to manufacture a Punk and a Roman storyline in this favor, to where you could have just maybe kept planting seeds and you could have prolonged this to SummerSlam one-on-one. But you didn't do that, because you don't have anything for Punk. You don't have anything for Roman at WrestleMania. You didn't have anything for Rollins. So why not just throw all of them in there with no title on the line, and all they're fighting for is the custody of Paul Heyman? That's it. That's your main event. And I get it. Are they making something out of nothing? Sure, absolutely. But guys, that still does not mean that this has been booked properly, man. That does not rectify how we've gotten to this fucking point. It just doesn't. It's stupid. It makes no sense. I really don't care for this triple threat match at all. I don't give a shit about this favor. I just don't care for it at all. Maybe there's some people that like it. That's totally fine. But I'm not just going to bullshit and just ignore how we've gotten to this point, how you've rushed and manufactured Punk and Roman Reigns up into this point, and you're inserting Seth Rollins, that just now once again feels like an outsider. He felt like an outsider with Punk and McIntyre at SummerSlam last year, and here he is, he feels like the outsider in the third wheel once again, bro. It's a fucking mess, and this is your triple threat. They're not fighting for a title. They're not fighting for anything like that, to where it would make sense, because if you're fighting for the custody of Heyman to get to a championship opportunity, if that's what the prize is, if Paul Heyman is the meal ticket to get to a championship opportunity to where everybody has something to fight for, that makes sense. But guys, there's nothing. It's just for who's going to walk out with Paul Heyman. Who's Paul Heyman's best interest with to walk out of WrestleMania? That's your fucking story. They're all faces. You're not telling it correctly, because everybody's got to be a face or heel one week and the other week. It's done so fucking piss poor. Yes, this segment might have been decent to some people. I get it. But guys, I can't ignore how we've gotten here. And how we've gotten here has been fucking horrible. Brian, any final thoughts and this overall this main event segment?
Yeah, kind of, you just summed it up right there. I mean, the segment was okay, but this overall story is just, yeah. I mean, nice little nostalgia there with Seth hitting Roman in the back. I mean, right. I like that little nod. Cool. And so this is where I'm going with this now. Like, again, I really don't want to see this triple threat. But I do, at least the last couple of weeks with Rollins specifically. The story he's telling and the things he's saying about, like, Roman, like, you've made these decisions, whatever, but you've never seen the big picture. You always miss something. And we talk about how, generally speaking, like, the guy standing, like, well, the go home show is usually the guy that's going to take the L or whatever.
Right.
In this case, though, man, I think Rollins is winning this match. And
it's possible.
I'm just interested in how they're going to tell the story afterwards, because even again in this promo, right, where Rollins is saying, like, Paul, I know you, like, Paul, you've been a slime ball, like, your whole, his whole career. And he has. Not to Roman, not to Punk, but that's who Paul is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the story they would have to tell,
right,
to why somebody that he has been loyal to in Punk or Roman, why he suddenly turned and went with a guy who he's never been with in Rollins. And that's also why I think that line Rollins had was, that this fight is for the future of this industry, in which you have CM Punk, those three.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's going to be, like, it'll be an entertaining match. There'll be false finishes. There's going to be, probably a couple holy shit things.
There'll be some certain spots, like storytelling spots in the matchup and everything.
Right. Yeah. But I think Rollins is winning this match thanks to Paul Heyman. And then we'll see on what that means for, like, who's heel, who's face. I mean, at that point, Heyman and Rollins are heel, you would have to say, but
yeah,
then Rollins has to really change this fucking character that he's in. That, you know what I mean? Like, that shit ain't gonna work. So that's what. Yeah, there's a lot of things all over the place. So we'll see.
Yeah. So, and again, and like you mentioned, with Seth and Roman, like, that would mean a lot more if it was just them two.
Mm-hmm.
If it was just them two in a non-title feud, to where, hey, like, you can go back to their history with the Shield, and you can tie in Paul Heyman to where, oh yeah, it's like, he might have been loyal to you, but guess what? He's a scumbag. He's been that. He's done that. Right? To where, like, that would mean so much more if it was just between Roman and if it was just between Seth Rollins, to where then you just make CM Punk just feel like the afterthought. You know what I'm saying? Like, for you to just throw everybody in this match and they're not collectively fighting for anything at all, it doesn't make sense. And I get it. Trust me, the matchup might still be pretty damn good for a triple threat match, for a cluster of a shit fest, for how it's been, how we're getting to this point.
I expect it will be. With those three and Heyman, it's going to be a good fucking match. Yeah.
I won't deny that at all. Absolutely. But I say this about WrestleMania, Brian. It's just like sometimes it's just like, oh, well, maybe WrestleMania will be good, right? Maybe WrestleMania's night 1 and 2, they'll still be maybe good for what it is. The matchups will be good, and I'm sure they will be. I'm not going to deny that they won't. But Brian, what is WrestleMania truly about? It's not about the destination. It's about how you get there. It's about being along for the ride and telling the story consistently that gets you hooked on a week-to-week basis, being along for the ride. This company has not done that. And it's little details to where you had Paul Heyman expose, and CM Punk both expose the favor to Roman Reigns, to where now when he backs freaking Paul Heyman up into a corner, who would you think that would come across more as the heel? It's Roman, right? His antics and his mannerisms are more of the heel. But then you go this past Monday night on Raw, and now you see like the crowd is chanting along with Roman. You ucked up to Paul Heyman, who now comes across him more as the freaking heel. And now Roman Reigns now looks more as the baby face. Guys, nothing is adding up here, right? To where it's things like that, to where it may not seem like it's a big deal, but it does, to where it's people like me, and I'm sure a lot of people that are trying to make things make sense and to follow along. I can't follow along if people are slowly switching from face to heel from segment by segment every fucking week because you didn't do this properly. You threw all three baby faces in one match with nothing to fight for. It makes no sense. So no question, Brian, I'm not going to deny what you just said. There's no question for this to be the main event and for how we've gotten here and for what the matchup could be. Absolutely. There's going to be nostalgia. There's going to be hints of maybe a Shield reunion, right? Where they're working, we got Roman and Seth maybe works together. Seth is going to maybe try to portray Roman to take out Punk, right? You got, Paul Heyman, of course, is going to be obviously a big portion of this matchup, of course, to where who he's going to, I guess, walk out of WrestleMania with. Seth Rollins, I'm sure, will play a big part in it, and maybe some other key factors as well. No doubt. Could be possibly one of the most overbooked matches on this entire weekend, possibly, but in a good way. I'm not going to deny that. But guys, I can't sit here and all of a sudden just magically will say, all right, well, the matchup's going to be good. Let me just forget everything else happened. No, guys, I'm not going to do that. Nah. I'm just not going to. I'm not going to forget how you've booked this triple threat. I'm not going to forget how you've gotten to this point between Rhea, Io, and Bianca, which, by the way, they were just left off television. You could have given 6 or 7 minutes to those ladies, but you kept them off television because I did like
the vignette with Io. Again, it's even with that. I wanted to mention that too. It's far too little, too late. That's what I'm saying. You spent the last 3 weeks to a month completely pushing her to the back. That's you give her 1-2 minute vignette. Get the fuck out of here.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's the timing of doing this to where it's like you clearly did this. You specifically did that just to keep them off the show because you probably had nothing for them, and you think it's best because you've done pretty much everything underneath the sun that you could possibly do with these ladies to make it make sense. Yeah. You went the safe route to keep them off television. That's why I'm exposing it the way that I am, because you had 6 minutes left on the show. You could have given it to those ladies to try to do something to sell you on the matchup, but you went the easy route. You had them cut these vignettes to where the timing of it doesn't make sense. It's like it's too little too late at that point, like you said. So, guys, I'm not going to defend this shit. You just think that I'm just going to forget. I'm not going to forget, bro. So, guys, I'm sorry. This entire show was awful. It was so fucking bad. If you want to point out some good, some here, some, but in totality, bro, nothing was accomplished in this show. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you want to give me this main event segment, fine. That's fair. That's very, very fair. I'm not going to dispute that. But outside of that, guys, what got accomplished in this show? Are you really that much more excited about Gunther and Jey Uso? Are you that much more excited about Bayley and Lyra getting women's tag team titles? Are you that much more excited about Bayley, Io, and Rhea Ripley in a triple threat? Are you that much more excited about the latte from Starbucks against Rey Mysterio? Or Bianca, excuse me. Guys, cut the bullshit, man. Yeah. They're not putting in any effort. This was a show to where let's just get it out the way. Let's just get to WrestleMania. and let's be done with it. That's what this show was this past Monday, and that's just what it is. So now this is where we're at. The build's pretty much done. I mean, granted, yes, we got a SmackDown this coming Friday tomorrow.
Right.
And then you've got Cena, who's going to be advertised for Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. So who knows? Maybe that signs to where he possibly could win that championship. Who knows, against Cody Rhodes. So we'll see, man. And that's pretty much it, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show. That's going to do it. This was your Monday Night Raw review, the Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. Talked a lot about Triple H and his egotistical self. We talked about WrestleMania ticket prices, AEW ratings, and all this stuff, man. This was a jam-packed show, and we wouldn't have it any other way, man. Once again, I want to thank everybody from who participated in our roundtable this past weekend. Just want to thank everybody again. Denard, who aka Light Skin Gaijin, if you guys know him from TikTok, people like Top Bunk Sports, David, shout out to him, and of course my man Scotty Wrestling, shout out to him as well. All of those guys, man, had such a great time covering WrestleMania, covering the match card. Again, once again, if you haven't seen that episode yet, especially before WrestleMania, make sure you guys do such. And of course, check the banner down below if you guys want to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. That is Ruthless_Talk. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. Had a couple new subscribers come on, as we're now nearing 350 subscribers on YouTube. So I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the channel. Much appreciated. And the next time, guys, that you will see us is when we cover WrestleMania itself, both nights 1 and 2. It's a holiday weekend, so it's going to be a little bit tough, but make sure you guys stay informed and stay notified for when these episodes drop, when we talk WrestleMania nights 1 and 2. And I also want to give a shout out, as I will be on a collaboration tomorrow night. I want to give a shout out to Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. That is a podcast. Shout out to Sean, who is the host of the Hubbard Wrestling Weekly podcast. I will be on his show talking WrestleMania, talking Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, talking Jey Uso and Gunther, talking this triple threat match. So your boy's not done talking WrestleMania. So if you guys want to check that out, it is going to be live on his YouTube channel. We're going live on YouTube tomorrow at around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys want to check that out, it's going to be on his YouTube channel. I will post links on our social medias for you guys to check that out if you guys would like to check that out. And as always, man, we appreciate all of your support. It's been an interesting WrestleMania build, not in the most positive of ways, but it's been a build.
Not at all.
But we got WrestleMania now to talk about, and now all we got is just to hope and pray that WWE delivers on a really good WrestleMania weekend. So we'll see. But Brian, any final thoughts, man, before we end this show?
Yeah, man, 2 days away, 2 days from Mania. So definitely looking forward to what Rock and Cena have in store, because you know that's they got to have something. Other than that, man, shock me, WWE, surprise me in a positive way, because I don't know what else there is, but yeah, we'll be back to discuss all of it next week.
Yes, sir, man. That is going to do it for today's episode, everybody. My name is James Porcelli.
My name is Brian Thomas.
And until next time, there will be a next time. Your boys are signing off, saying salutes.
Peace out.
And take care, everybody. Top guys, we are out.
Frail, but the skin is dry and pale. The pain will never fail.